Well, all right. What's up, Leah? How you feeling?
I'm great. How are you feeling?
I'm great. I'm great. Good to be back on. Good to be back on. I should start by saying that if you're watching this on YouTube, you might want to go ahead and switch over to a different platform, switch over to Rumble, because some of the stuff I got to talk about on this one is a little sensitive, and so we're gonna have to edit it out. And so you get the good version, you got to go to the platform. So that being said, story, right?
Yeah,
Okay, so what we're talking about today is 10 Days of Darkness. Now, have you ever heard about 10 Days of Darkness, Leia?
I have heard about it several, like during the last 3 years, it's come up many
Okay,
times.
so I'll give a little history of 10 Days of Darkness as I know it. All right, does that
Yes,
work? All right, so the first time I ever heard of 10 Days of Darkness was with a lot of people have been making all okay, you know what? Before I say what a lot of people have been doing, let's do a breakdown of what 10 Days of Darkness is supposedly supposed to be. On 10 Days of Darkness, supposedly, right? The EBS has publicly been announced worldwide. You know, the emergency broadcasting system. So everybody's supposed to get an alert on their cell phones. The EBS will trigger martial law and the global currency revaluation worldwide. So this is supposed to be how they set up this is how um okay, so the fiat system has to crash before they can set up the quantum financial system, before they can get that going. And there may be a few days in between one happening, one going down and the other coming up, right? Which is the 10 days of darkness, which is what some people say will be the 10 days of darkness. That's just one take on it. We go, right? Okay, so martial law will be especially prominent in 17 major US cities. I'm imagining that if it does go down like this, New York and Los Angeles will be among the top, right? People only have 24 hours to get where they need to be and secure essential supplies for a shutdown that could last up to 4 weeks. The EBS will involve 3 to 12 days, some say 2 to 4 weeks of worldwide communication darkness. Phones, internet, credit, debit cards, and ATMs will not work. Schools, stores, businesses, banks will be closed. The mainstream media will be shut down. You are advised to have a month's worth of food, gas, cash, water, and other essential items on hand. Through Project Odin, the Tesla towers were turned on and the world will switch over to Tesla free energy and the Starlink satellite system. 3 8-hour documentaries a day will be broadcast on TV, radio, and phones 24/7 across the globe. The documentaries will explain what is going on. Truth will be revealed out of the darkness. Have you heard any of that?
Yeah, I've heard that's the one. That's the main narrative, I'll say, that I've heard.
That's the main narrative that you've heard. Yeah. Well, along the way since 2017, people have had all sorts of ideas of what it could or could not be.
And
For
when.
example, huh?
And when. What and when.
Right. Well, it's kind of strange to me that people say trust the plan
Mhm.
because I can't actually trust a plan that I'm not privy to personally.
Right. And
Right? Like if you tell me the details of the plan, then maybe I could trust it, but I don't really know the plan. I don't know. Also, hold on. Let me show you this.
it was like I found it very compelling at first. It was interesting. I was engaged, I'll say, at first. But I don't know when it switched. All of a sudden, I just started thinking like, this is an AI, or this is like CIA, or this is. It just felt all bad, and it turned into something that's so freaking demonized that and polarizing that it's hard to find any
Is it?
parts of
I
this.
haven't heard a lot about it, so I don't know that it's like super polarizing because I haven't heard anything. Uh,
Oh, well, okay.
I hear. I mean, let me say it a different way. I haven't heard a lot from the left about it,
Mm.
but I'm starting to. and we'll kind of get into that.
Yeah, I
But
can show you too.
here's another one. Netanyahu. I can't read it because my thing is covering it.
Netanyahu bars Jewish visitors from Temple Mount for the last 10 days of Ramadan.
Right. So somebody was saying, could this be the 10 days of darkness?
Mhm.
You see what I'm saying? Like there's been a lot of theories, is my point.
Exactly. And that's what was it was,
Well, that's
drama.
one of the reasons why, like, I knew that it was a narrative that should be paid attention to, and I paid attention to the narrative, but
Mhm.
to kind of fall into it completely is not my thing for anything. I don't fall into much of anything completely. It's just not my thing. I like to like wait and see how it shakes out.
Yeah, and I feel like some of the fringe communities are more, they're like mainstream in the fringe community. So even though it's like it's not on mainstream news, it's mainstream in certain circles, say. And so then I tend to be wary about those too. Because if everybody's saying something, then somebody wants us to hear it. And usually the somebody's
Well,
the
if
one
if 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 it really was a military operation the way that it's laid out, then
Mhm.
they would probably be giving away too much information to their adversaries, I would think.
Right.
But
Mhm.
initially, some of the information was good, and the only way you're going to hook people is with good intel. So, like I say, I'm with you as far as the intel goes, and if they are dropping new good intel, then I'll be back with them. I'll put my hat right back on or whatever. But until that happens, I'm just I just watch. I'm a watcher.
This old.
So Christmas time 2018, we got this creepy message from the Queen. And it was the first time I ever heard of Operation London Bridge. It's basically the secret plan that triggers 27 events, how to take care of when the Queen passes and things and the events that happen afterwards. And I can link up this article, but number 17 happened to be Prince Charles becomes king. So what do we have going on in today's news? Well, the Queen is checking out. She's in her final days. And what do we have? We have a secret 10-day funeral. It's called Operation London Bridge. So there's different events that are going to happen. D1, by the way, D2, D3, D5, and so on, in the Queen's funeral. But the key is Prince Charles becomes king.
Interesting, right?
It was. Now when I see that, I'm just like, it's like confusion and the time that it takes to put together all the numbers and all this stuff. It feels like just one big distraction.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what it is. I reserve judgment. Like I said, I'm here for the information. That's about
Yeah,
it.
no, I'm not even judging. I just feel like that's what it feels like to me. It just feels
Yeah,
like a
you could be
distraction.
right. You could be right. It's just me personally. It's just my personal thing. Like I don't know. I don't have enough information to be telling people like that. Like this is I just know this is what they said, and so I'm showing you. You know what I mean? That's
So
all I'm
yeah, no, I hear you. Well, I have
saying.
more thoughts than that. I mean, I feel like it's so well put together. That's why it feels like CIA, because it's so well put together and it's like a beast that feeds itself. So it's like once the puzzle's solved, whichever way it goes, they'll find something,
Yeah,
there's something
there is
there.
that aspect to it. There is that aspect to it. And some connections I've seen made are stretches, to say the least.
Like when you said you can't make this stuff up, I'm like, well, actually,
You kind of
but
can,
like,
right?
yeah, definitely can. But
You
the
know,
thing is that I think the thing to pay attention to there, if it is a CIA op, is why are they trying to distract us? Period. It's like what? So obviously there's something still, no matter what, within all of this stuff. There's something there. I don't know if it has 10 days. You know, I don't know. I don't know. I'm like you. I don't
You're gonna be
know.
like me. I
Yeah.
can't say what is. I can't say what is. I am not privy to that level of clearance of knowledge or whatever. Um, but I do think that it's important to look at all the angles, and so that's what I do. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So okay, you
So
have some more.
speaking of, no, speaking of, you said something like, I forget what you just said, but it made me think of this. So let me show you this. Oh, you said you can't write this stuff or something like that, right?
He said that. And I said,
Did I
well,
say that?
actually,
Or did you say that?
no, the
Oh,
guy, the video that you just showed, the clip, he said
uh,
it. And I was saying, well, actually, you can.
In 2001, a real-world exercise tested the emergency response to a bioterror attack on the continental United States. The operation was called Dark Winter. Within just a few days, the simulation spiraled out of control. The operation predicted a rapid breakdown in essential institutions, civil disorder, and massive civilian casualties. Dark Winter has revealed how vulnerable we've become. Our lifestyle, our security, our safety depends on a delicate and unstable economy. We've created a system so complicated that we no longer understand how to control it. Oil, power, shipping, transport. We live in a complex world. And the more complex it gets, the more fragile it becomes. The system is built on a global supply chain that gets things where they're needed, just in time. We've created a house of cards. Remove just one, and everything falls apart. And what's fueling this system?
Money. Americans can spend $90 billion in a single day of shopping. Last year, 200 million people swarmed their local stores on November 23rd. We call that day Black Friday. Did you know that a flu virus can survive on the surface of a banknote for up to 17 days? One day there will be a pandemic. It could begin during the crush of Black Friday sales. A pathogen will jump from tainted banknotes to human skin, onto food, toys, children, and loved ones. By the time patient zero feels the first sore throat, millions of people will already be infected. From this point, the breakdown will happen fast.
Day 1, hospitals will reach capacity. Panic will strike. Day 2, quarantine zones will be established. Resources will be rationed. Transport will go into lockdown. Day 3, international trade will stop. The oil will dry up. The stock market will collapse. Day 4, the power will fail. The shelves will be empty. The taps will run dry. And once hunger and despair take hold, people will do anything for survival. By day 5, everyone will be a potential threat.
In 2007, a new presidential directive was signed quietly into law. This maps out the government's response to a crisis, a plan to cope with a real dark winter. It is known as Directive 51. There are rumors of shadow agencies, sleeper cells, covert agents, but nothing can be confirmed.
Our complex world is primed for breakdown.
And once the chaos strikes,
There won't be resources to save us all.
the only question left is, what will it take to save what remains?
Oh shit. I didn't even know that was a real movie. I thought it was like one of the, truther videos. That's crazy.
video
So
game.
they use Dark Winter?
It's a video game.
Oh, because there's a real brief, There's a
Yeah,
real,
I
yeah,
know.
okay.
I
And
know.
which came first?
I think it's pretty close. Dark Winter. Well, let's see. The video was posted. Well, this is just posted 6 months ago.
Yeah, I saw that, but that's probably not the origination date.
Yeah, I know.
That's a trip.
Yeah, it is a trip, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So yeah, it can be written, and people have obviously thought this all the way through. I mean, if that's in a video game, the military's thought it all the way through.
Yeah, the brief is it's extremely specific, and it's like COVID, like everything that happened during COVID. It's crazy. And
Well,
yeah.
almost. What's what they wanted to have happen sort of during COVID. Yeah. And
Obviously.
yeah. And now they are talking about the next pandemic being a cyber pandemic,
Right.
right? And they're literally likening the pandemic to COVID. Watch this.
The COVID-19 pandemic has shaken our economies and societies to the core and shown us how vulnerable we are to biological threats. In the digital world, similar risks are being overlooked right now. A cyber attack with COVID-like characteristics would spread faster and further than any biological virus. Its reproductive rate would be around 10 times greater than what we've experienced with the coronavirus. To give you an idea, one of the fastest worms in history, the 2003 Slammer sapphire worm, doubled in size approximately every 8.5 seconds, infecting over 75,000 devices in 10 minutes and almost 11 million devices in 24 hours. Fortunately, at least until now, cyber attacks have not impacted our health the way pandemics have, but the economic damages, and therefore the impact they have had on our daily lives, have been equal and sometimes even greater. You see, the only way to stop the exponential propagation of a COVID-like cyber threat is to fully disconnect the millions of vulnerable devices from one another and from the internet. All of this in a matter of days. A single day without the internet would cost our economies more than $50 billion US, and that's before considering the economic and societal damages should these devices be linked to essential services such as transport or healthcare. As the digital realm increasingly merges with our physical world, the ripple effects of cyber attacks on our safety just keep on expanding at a faster pace than what we're preparing for. COVID-19 was known as an anticipated risk. So is the digital equivalent. Let's be better prepared for that one. The time is now.
Yeah. And what's their suggestion for becoming better prepared for it?
To give them all the power, but that's not what this episode's about. Yeah, we could go off on the World Economic Forum on a different day. But the point that I'm trying to make is that they are likening a cyber pandemic to a virus. So the connection is sort of made between what's been happening and, the 10 days of darkness, supposedly.
Yeah, a day without the internet, though. Yeah. And the Starlink thing is interesting to me. Like that, I didn't know that originated that the Starlink system would be activated, like for our, I don't know, for what, satellite system? They said satellite.
Well, there's supposed to be a quantum financial system. Everybody's going to get a quantum phone. Everybody's going to, it's a whole different gig, free energy, all that. It's a whole different gig.
Has Elon said anything about 10 days? And does anybody know if
I don't know.
Like any of those little blue things?
I got no idea. I mean, he may have. There's probably, I'm sure that he's been mentioning somewhere, but I couldn't tell you. But interesting, right? 10 days of darkness, supposedly, right? What are you doing? Oh, I'm like, where'd you go?
I was seeing it if anything on the web and Starlink and Elon came up with 10 days of darkness.
Well, this phrase is not, it's one of those things that's sort of suppressed. It's not like you're going to find a whole lot on 10 Days of Darkness in a lot of places.
Yeah, no, especially not now that it's official. I don't know if you know, it's officially on the ADL site, on the ADL 10 Days of Darkness. 10 Days of Darkness refers to QAnon's prophesized period of unrest that will correspond with the storm, which has led to vivid speculation about any news story or event referencing 10 days. When former President Donald Trump contracted COVID-19, it was speculated that he needed to quarantine for 10 days. Followers believe this was confirmation of the upcoming mass arrests. So that's on the ADL site.
Well, I know that I do know that there seems to be some sort of preparation for it. I mean, watch this. Let's see.
I thought it was good.
Well, tonight, the nation's intelligence agencies are warning of cyber threats from Russia and are urging U.S. critical infrastructure defenses to be reinforced. As CBS's Bill Whitaker reported on Sunday night's 60 Minutes, it wouldn't take much to throw the entire country into darkness.
The grid is a sprawling target. There are actually 3 in the U.S., the Eastern, Western, and Texas has its own. Most of us rarely notice substations. There are 55,000 across the country, each housing transformers, the workhorses of the grid. Inside these massive metal boxes, raw electricity is converted to higher or lower voltages. Should a transformer explode, like this one in Manhattan during Superstorm Sandy, the system is designed to trigger a localized grid-preserving blackout. But if several sections of the grid go down at the same time, the shutdowns can cascade like dominoes. That's what set off the Great Northeast Blackout in 2003, leaving 45 million Americans without power. A few months before the assault on Metcalf, John Wellinghoff of FERC commissioned a study to see if a physical attack on critical transformers could trigger cascading blackouts.
It was actually a very shocking result to us that there's very few number of substations you need to take out in the entire United States to knock out the entire grid.
Knock out the entire grid?
That's correct.
How many would it take to knock out, putting the entire country in a blackout?
Less than 20.
And Bill Whitaker joins us now. So, Bill, just 20 substations to knock out the entire system? I mean, that's unbelievable. But your reporting is it could be even less than that.
That's right, Nora. That report was from 2013, and it actually found the number was even lower, 9. Taking out just 9 critical substations could black out the whole country. We were
now first,
it's just like they just fear. Never.
Yeah, like if you believe that shit, like right?
Right.
If you believe that shit, come on, stop. They would not put that shit on the even news if there was truth. You could just take out 3 of our things.
Right, then people would be there so fast, like just so dumb. Have you heard that?
What was key to that, I think, in part, was how they were keen to blame it on Russia.
Which is funny, because what I was going to say is, have you heard that China is actually the original? They built our grid. They built our grid system. So I would think that they would be a much bigger threat, since
Homeland Security is
this administration insists on having some sort of beef with China whenever, wherever. I would think that they would be the bigger threat there.
Well, I don't know what a bigger threat is, but I do know. I said I don't know which is the bigger threat, but I do know that they want to blame it on the Russians, and they also want to blame it on
Homeland Security is warning of a potential troubling escalation in tactics from right-wing extremists. Catherine Herridge has more on this. She joins us from Washington. Catherine, we understand
in my head, they're not like the tech type, like they're not the whole like cyber.
It's just funny because I mean, for me, I listen to it and I'm like, it seems like they're trying to cover their ass because they're gonna do it themselves.
Yeah, you might be onto something there, because I'll tell you the amount of times that my password has appeared in a breach when I see that on Apple tells me, I think it's like 200 and something times. I'm like, then why do we have passwords? Like, why do we?
Right. What's the whole point?
And every single time that password doesn't match.
They want to pass a bill that outlaws VPNs.
They're the what? Oh, I know.
They want to pass a bill that outlaws VPNs. Yeah.
It's just like, that's wild.
Yeah,
so, it's probably all on them, I'm sure. But that's what makes me think the whole thing is an op. And then, they're just trying to get, I don't know, because people have been prepping. I know that. Like it's a big deal for it. It's, they used to be a kind of like, isolated group of people that were preppers. Now everybody's kind of like, we should get some more water. We should grow up.
Right. Yeah. Well, in the news last week, there was this, oh man, let me see if I can find it real quick. There was this really quick clip. I don't know if you caught it.
This Saint news. You should let the people know, because they don't know. When you say the news, they think you're talking about the news,
I will. But check this out.
I asked AI how humans were meant to live. Too bad everyone's stuck in the matrix.
Too bad you're an AI too with your voice. What the hell?
Yeah, well, I mean, I cut that last part out of the news because that wasn't important. I don't,
Yeah,
you know, saying too bad or anything like that. But the houses that were in that video, I would love any of those houses, except for the TP. I'm not trying to fuck with no TP,
and I don't want the one in the snow either. But did you see the
right? Yeah, that other, all the it was like 3 or 4 TPs or huts. I don't need the huts, but the houses with the wood and the glass and
there's the one that you showed, the nicest one in my opinion. There's a video, and it might have been you who showed it, of the tour inside of it. Was it you? Have you seen it inside of that house?
Inside of the sustainable house that they built. Yeah. I want to build one of those. Yeah.
He actually bought it as is, but it's gorgeous, and it's so it's just like nature. It's like living inside of a tree. It's beautiful.
Peace to my soul family, peace to my soul tribe. This is part 2 to the 10 days of darkness that we are experiencing right now. Come on, check it out. Now, I know the 10 days of darkness isn't actually talking about 10 days of physical darkness to a certain extent, but it's talking about an internal darkness, a spiritual darkness, this spiritual feminine matriarchal energy that is heavily prevalent in this realm. And a lot of people are experiencing this dark matter energy or this feminine energy because it's here to balance everything out. This chaotic, dark, feminine-like energy is here to balance everything out, harmonize everything in a destructive manner, because that's what chaos energy is. Chaos energy literally deals with destruction and creation. So before you have creation, it has to be destruction, and then after destruction, that's when the purification comes in. And the purification only happens by way of these biophotons or the sun, or the suns that exist within you. We're gonna talk about that in the next video. The great solar flash. So like I said, this dark matter energy or this 10 days of darkness is here right now, and we're all experiencing it, whether you realize it or not. The retrogrades is over, so why everybody still going through crazy stuff? Why is everybody still having very, very sexual dreams? Getting sexually attacked, spiritually attacked through their dreams. Getting evil eyes sent to them, all kinds of things. Part of this reason is because this divine matriarchal energy is here balancing everything out. It's weeding out the phonies and the fakes and the pump fakers. This is why everybody is getting hit with hella shadow work. And for the ones who are staying 10 toes and not folding, you're getting through this shadow work because you know how to merge with this dark matter energy and not run from it. You know how to embrace this dark matter energy and not let it hinder you and put you back into that subjugated program like box that the Matrix put you in. That's why you have a lot of people probably experiencing a lot of psychosis right now, because they're not able to transmute that high refined level of information and energy that is being fluctuated throughout this whole realm. See, in order for us to reach this new earth, or this physical 5D, the light has to show forth through the darkness. We have to go through these dark nights of the soul, these tower moments, this shadow work, and be able to transmute it and alchemize it in order for us to really initiate and step into that higher purpose of us being created gods and goddesses, of us being these celestial beings, these 9 etheric beings. How you a 9 etheric being, but you don't tap into the 9 ether? How you a 9 ether being and you can't transmute that condensed neuromelanated dark etheric matter-like energy, that divine matriarchal 9 mother-like energy? Pay very, very close attention to what you're doing, what you're seeing, what you're experiencing as far as this energy that we're in, because it's very, very powerful and it will tip the scales back to a more harmonized state. You do not want this energy to fold you, but you want this energy to delift you so it can uplift you. Because even though it's dark matter energy and people connotate it as being evil and wicked and witchcraft and all that demonic stuff, which it really ain't, still is necessary because it's a part of you and it's a part of how you're able to evolve and grow into that limitless source channeling being. Make sure y'all being still and taking heed and doing shadow work in y'all 10 days of darkness. Ashe.
The next 2 weeks, we've been warned. There's going to be darkness. We're almost at a point of grid collapse. It's a reality that South Africans must know, that we're heading to darkness and ANC politicians are continuing business as usual, as if we are not in a crisis. We are in a deep, deep, deep crisis. Cell phone networks will not work. Water, even if we have it, we won't receive it, because it needs electricity. Nothing is going to function. We're heading for a disaster, worse than what COVID was. No one will go to work. The dead will have to be buried the same day because there will not be fridges to keep them. No generator is meant to operate 24 hours. Generator is an intervention for a short while. Even those who have generators will not be saved from the mess we are going into. We warned you. We went to the streets because we knew this was coming. History will absolve us. We were called names, were ridiculed, were insulted. Police and the army were called on us for trying to protect us from where we are. They are just calling it stage 10 for nice word. The reality is that it's darkness. And it's not going to be darkness of 12 hours or 24 hours, it comes back. No. At times it's going to take 3 to 4 days. At times it will take a week. At times it will take a month without electricity. The whole leadership must go. We cannot fall back and do nothing. And you.
Okay, so what were you saying? You found
an article, from Julius Malema, the South African leader or politician who claims that there's darkness upcoming, and it just says they're selling a survival kit, so that's interesting.
Right. Yeah, those generators are flying off the shelves these days, aren't they? Those solar generators.
Yeah.
But they're still not made to power your house or anything like that. So, he's right about that. Generators aren't made to like keep shit running all the time.
Exactly. Because what we do when the power goes out, we run a cord to the car because we have and then we'll light the house for the night because we've been having more power outages for sure, like for just seemingly no reason at all. And I get emails because we're PG&E over here, and I get emails from PG&E all the time, like prepare for power outages, like all the time. Like I said, fire season's coming. It's going to be power outages. So they're planning those just controlled power outages, I suppose.
All right. So the question for today's episode is 10 days of darkness. What will it really look like? Could you handle it? How would that shit go down? Like, what would it really look like? So, like, when I do it in my head, like, I think, okay, so day one, right? Let's say I'm at work or something, I'm doing whatever I'm doing, and then, like, if it really goes down, like they say, you got 24 hours to get everything you need and get home.
Which, by the way, I don't know if you know this, but for LA, they say it would take 24 hours to leave the city limits. If everybody had to just leave LA, like say you wanted to come up north or whatever, it would take 24 hours to leave the city limits because there's so much traffic and it's so congested. Just FYI.
Yeah. Oof.
I mean, think of the traffic. Like if that was an announcement.
Yeah, if that was a thing. Yeah. Well, I don't know. Like I'm saying, like day one, like the shit goes down, right? You got 24 hours to get everything. Like what would you have to get? Like I don't know what I'd have to get to go 10 days. And like that would be horrifying. Can you imagine like the lines that you'd have to get in to like get stuff for 10 days and how it would clear off the shelves and how much of a mess that would be? That first 24-hour period would be a mess.
A mess. And that's you're saying if we had fair warning or if it just went out.
Yeah, that's if they're saying that we have 24 hours. That's if they give us a day.
Okay. Yeah, no, that was stupid. They know that. Everybody knows that because of what happened with the toilet paper. That wasn't even a thing. Like that was just like insane.
Yeah. Side note, the Spanish flu epidemic, they had the same thing where people went out and got toilet paper.
No, I did not know that.
Yeah. Well, was it Spanish flu or was it? I forget if it was the Spanish flu or I know the Spanish. It was something. It might have been not, but it was a similar event to the COVID pandemic that we just went through.
Yes,
it was exactly the same thing where they ran out and bought all the toilet paper.
They had the same ads and everything with the masks and just like it was very, very similar.
Yeah. That's one of they like to teach us that things are linear, but things are cyclical. Things they go in cycles.
Mm-hmm. Nothing new under the sun.
So day one, right? I got 24 hours to get shit. If you don't got like some shit like enough water for 10 days, you're gonna be fucked. or you're going to be in line for basically that whole 24 hours. Just leave somebody in line at the water store and come back for them. Leave them in line with like, a charger on their phone. Shit.
No, but why wouldn't water, like, okay, not that we should drink tap water, but there's ways to filter water. Like,
yeah, but how are you going to get water?
Huh?
But how would you get water?
No, I'm asking, so why wouldn't the faucets work?
There's no electricity involved in pumping
Our power
water?
works when, no, our power, I mean, our water works when there's no power. No hot water, but our cold water works.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it's connected to, I don't know about like filtration systems or if like contaminants.
That's what I'm saying.
Water.
There's DIY ways to filter your water. So people should know that. Like it has to do with pantyhose and cat litter and stuff like that, but there's ways to do it in case of emergency.
Huh. But that means you'd have to have pantyhose and cat litter and all that shit.
Do that. We always have that on hand.
Oh yeah, pantyhose and cat litter. Okay.
I mean, there's pills and stuff too that you can put in.
So day one, what do you got 24 hours to get stuff. What do you have to get? You personally.
Personally, I know I'm thinking definitely, I mean, water would be number one. And then I would want to get some, besides feeding my family, I would want to get some food for my cats. I know that stuff would be out, and I just couldn't stand to see them like hungry.
Well, I mean, but, I'm of the mind that there's no such thing as cat food and there's no such thing as dog food.
Well, cats are really picky eaters, so there is such thing as cat food.
Yeah, but you picky all you want. When you're hungry, you're gonna eat.
I don't know. Cats are really picky, but okay, let's say that. I personally wouldn't travel anywhere. Like I wouldn't try to leave. I'd hole up in my house, I would get probably some security measures because
you got 24 hours. You running to go get a cat?
Probably don't need to run and go get one, but I would definitely even more secure locks and stuff for the doors, and
that's what you do? Like if they said 24 hours, you would
that'd be one of the things I do. One of the things I would do. Yeah. I would try to get my mom over here to the house so that she's with us. Then I wouldn't have to worry about anything outside of the house because I don't think that people are going to do well with that. Because
no, I think I don't think like anything will really break down until like day 5, 6.
That's what I was going to say. The first couple of days are going to be it is just
kind of normal.
Talking, neighbors talking like, can you believe it? Like we did it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then after that, people start getting hungry and stuff. I bet you the homeless, the unsheltered, whatever we're calling them, which I don't agree with, by the way, but the people without homes would probably be doing a lot better than most of us.
Why would you say that?
Just because they're just used to it, and they're gonna be like, "Why is everybody chirping?" Like, I don't know.
I don't know about that because if nobody can go out, then nobody can give them money. Nobody can buy them food. Nobody can, their business gets shut down too.
Well, they'll be okay. Yeah.
Yeah, their business gets shut
what
down.
What about hospitals and stuff? That would be so bad.
And we have cabinets and shit, so we can store food in it. So like I wouldn't be worried about food for 10 days. I'm like, I'm good. I'm not even tripping.
Why do you
think electricity went out? Then you wouldn't be able to save meat.
Yeah, all your shit would go. You could cure it.
Yeah, if you have all the shit for curing, like you talking about, like what are you talking about? The average person does not have shit to fucking cure.
Well, the Japanese did it before refrigeration. They just salted their fish, and then now we have sushi. So people better get creative. That's what I'm saying.
Well, I don't know. I'm just going through like, what it would kind of like actually be like and look like. And I know that I do not have things to can items.
I do not have that either. We do have what I call the apocalypse closet. Like we have a zombie closet we have stuff that we have acquired over the time, over a couple of years that we don't eat on an everyday basis because ill. But like some of it is just it's not what I want to eat. But so we have the apocalypse closet, and we have a ton of rice, and we have beans, and we have.
So the apocalypse closet is full of shit you don't want to eat. That's
but it's good for bartering.
See, my extra shit is all shit I want to eat. I won't be like hungry for nothing. I'll be like good. I'll be good.
We'll be able to do.
I mean, I don't eat that much anyway, so I'm not really tripping. I guess water would be the main thing, But if the faucets still work, yeah, I mean, our water still runs without electricity. So, you know, I think I'd probably worried about it being contaminated though, because if some sort of filtering system didn't work or something like that, so you'd have to have like some kind of, you know,
either way, filter it. Yeah, I think it
I
might
think
be
by
good
the
to
end
invest.
of, I think by the end of the day too, I would be a little frustrated because I wouldn't kind of know what was going on.
Right.
Um, and like even that, I wouldn't mind necessarily because like if there's literally nothing to do, I watch TV. But then you can't watch TV.
No, I would have I'd have so much to do. I do so many things that are not TV. I make jewelry, I paint, I do
Yeah.
stuff,
I do news. I do shit online. You know what I'm saying? I do what I do. So for me personally, it would be a little
we all in this house. My daughter, she crochets. My son draws. I paint and do. So yeah, we'd be good there. I love when there's downtime.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm a writer, so I do write,
Right.
but I'm not gonna, you know.
Can't
I
type.
mean, even like writing on my computer, I'd only have a couple of hours on my battery. I wouldn't be able to, you
I
know,
have a
start the
manual
American
typewriter.
novel. Huh?
I have a manual typewriter.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you use it?
Old school. Yeah, I don't use it, but I will. I would in this scenario. And
That's what I'm saying. See, look, this is what I'm talking about. You killing me.
Why? I would use
Because
it.
you're like, I could just glaze the ham, and I've got a manual typewriter, but we don't.
No, I did not say glaze the ham because I don't.
Not
No,
glaze,
I
but
have.
you know,
If I wanted to write, like if I wanted to write fast, I would. I would throw some
listen,
paper in that bitch and write.
yeah, I know. I feel you. If I wanted to write, I have pencil and paper, right? So I right, I know how to do it. You know what I'm saying? But that's not how we do things. And I honestly, if things come back up, it's what you're gonna want to retype it. You know, if you get 50 pages.
No, you can just
You go
totally
scan
scan it in and
scan your
yeah.
shit, right?
All
Well,
good.
I don't have a manual typewriter. I don't know that I would use one, although I know I did used to. I used it a lot when I first started writing. I had all my shit typed up in little notebooks and shit. All my shit was typed up.
And then you got to leave something in case it all ends. You got to
Full
leave
of glitter, full of gold. One white glove. He's shy, not bold. That's one of my first poems. I remember it like in my little book, right? It was about Michael Jackson.
That's good.
You know, it was not my best work. I wrote some good stuff when I was younger, but that was not my best work. Anyway, so like day 3 and 4, and you know, what's interesting here is I have an electric stove. I've never had an electric stove before.
Oh, really? Dang, I didn't. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's rough. I really don't like electric stoves.
Yeah, so I mean, see, I don't know if the gas would listen. I know that the gas is not electric, right?
Yeah, no, the clicker doesn't work.
I don't know how much. Right, if you have an electric pilot, that would not be a problem because you can just use a lighter and light it anyway. But I don't know how much electricity is used to get the gas to where it needs to go.
Exactly, like it could totally
just like the water, right? I don't know how much electricity is used to get that stuff where it needs to go.
Right. It would be rough. I mean, I do think that like neighbors would start. It can go one of two ways. Either the neighbors would be very helpful with one another and share resources and whatnot and information if they had it. Or, you know, people would just start being hoardy and like, you know, sneaky.
Kind of depend on your neighborhood.
Depends on the neighborhood, exactly.
But I would imagine that being in the cities is probably, you know, there'll be probably good pockets in the cities, but that's not where you want to be.
No.
Resources want to be where niggas is stacked on top of each other. That's where the resources will be the most scarce.
And also, that's where desperation would be the most prevalent. So people would start acting in desperation, like out in those ways. And that's no fun for anybody. But then when you see them start coming towards the suburbs, like you see big, I don't know, hordes of people just walking towards your house, that would be scary. But that's also not a guarantee. I mean, if I was out there on the streets or, you know, in the cities, I can't see myself not wanting a plan where you go somewhere nicer. Like, oh, what? All alarm systems are down. Nobody.
You know what I would be doing a lot of is reading. That's what I would be doing.
Yeah.
Shit ton of.
I don't have that. All my books. I need more paper books. I lost so many of them.
I'll be reading like the Nag Hammadi or something. I'll be reading like something like, you know, engrossing and just totally like.
You have all the books that you would read though? That's what I'm like.
No, I was actually looking at books to buy today.
Yeah, I need to. I want to up my library.
There's a couple of them. Yeah, my roommate just bought a book, and forget what it was, but it was like a real interesting book, and made me feel like, oh, he's buying books.
I read a lot, but I do it all on my iPad, and that's not good because that can go away, you know. Ugh,
Okay, so
God,
day 7.
hate that.
Day 7. Okay, so
Mhm.
let's say the water still works,
Uh-huh.
but the gas is out, right? Because it needs electricity to get where it's going.
Right.
I'm sure the water does too. Don't get me wrong. It has to need electricity to pump it to where it has to go.
Okay, well, the Napa River
And
is
how
right
else is it
outside my
getting
door,
there? It's not
so
getting there from just water pressure, right?
I don't know. We have the Napa River right
Definitely.
outside our door, though, but I don't know if it's salt or fresh because the bay is right there too. But I would filter the hell out of that. Do something if I could boil it, but I don't know.
Yeah, we have to say that the water and gas stopped working because there must be electrical power stations that push that shit where it needs to go. There's got to be.
Right? Yeah.
I mean, I feel like I sound stupid.
Okay, but what day said? I know, right? We don't know these things, though. That's the thing.
Yeah, I mean, I never thought about it. I
right.
literally never thought about it till right now. So, gotta
Did
imagine
you do
water.
growing
So,
up? Did you do camping or any survival things? Like,
somewhat familiar with it, not as much as I always wanted to. You know, I mean, I would have wanted to be like do all the shit, but I was that kind of kid. I wanted to do everything anyway. But
well,
so like, wait, stop
okay, go
getting
ahead.
sidetracked.
No, I was
Stay with me.
I was going on with your 7-day thing. We're on day
Okay.
7.
But what do you think? Like,
I'm just
you
saying,
tell me
like,
where you at on day 7.
day 7, if we knew it was going to be 10 days, I'd be like, let's just stick it out. But if
But you won't know it's going to be 10 days. No one is
but
going to know.
then how did we get a warning, a 24-hour warning?
Well, I think that 10 days would be what everyone would expect or assume, but
Right, because
it would not be that way everywhere. I don't think you could rely on that everywhere.
well, South Africa's talking about an era of darkness. Like,
Yeah,
that seems
I mean,
longer than 10 days. Shit. 7 days in.
7 days in, you haven't left your house, nothing's open.
We'd probably leave the
Basically
house,
martial
maybe.
law. Huh?
And now, oh, can we leave the house?
Yeah, basically no. That's what they're saying. It's going to be shut down, right?
So, you know, at that point, that anything they can give us after that period of time, we think was wonderful, even though it wouldn't be, you know, because we'd be so used to just having nothing that they'd be like, well,
Be so
here.
pissed off after being shut down, just be happy to get out again.
They just give you the concessions of, you know, they can be meager or
7
whatever.
days in, I mean, you haven't really had a shower,
Right.
right? You haven't really, you know, you haven't had your usual forms of entertainment and relaxation. You've had a couple of them that you had to rely on even more
So
heavily
they
than
could give
usual.
you a sanitized internet, and you'd be like, oh, thank you. Yes, I'd be so happy to have this, you know, government controlled internet.
I don't think so.
I mean, I wouldn't be like that, but a lot of people would be because they've had nothing for the whole
A lot of people wouldn't know it was sanitized.
Well, if it was government controlled or whatever, because
Yeah, a lot of people wouldn't know the difference.
right, because it wouldn't be different.
Right. Right. There you go.
Oh man.
So like, where you at day 7?
I
You're
don't
not
want
really
that
even thinking about
I
it,
mean,
huh? Day
how did you
7.
become
What does your hair look like on day 7 without, like, you know, nothing
Oh,
really?
fine. I'd be fine like
You're
this.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I guess we could still brush our teeth and hit them underarms and shit, but no hot bath for 7 days.
That would suck, but I don't know. I've done it, but that wouldn't be the worst of it. Like just take whole baths.
The food by now, there's nothing left in the fridge. Like really,
I
only
know.
the
And
fridge is just like a cabinet, right?
Yeah.
Everything's warm. Everything in the fridge is like a cabinet, so you're not having anything cold to drink or anything like that.
Yeah, I'd be wishing that I grew a much bigger garden for sure. Because I am growing. We have collard greens and corn and herbs and stuff, but not enough to get through 2 days, probably, maybe if that, you know. So that would be rough.
I heard that you can live on a teaspoon of honey for 24 hours.
We have honey. Yeah, but that
I heard that. I mean, I'm not sure. I haven't tried it. I haven't attempted it or anything. But
right, no, because why would you? That's crazy.
Yeah.
And I heard that if you don't eat anything for I think it's a week, and then you eat a stick of butter, you'll die.
Why?
So don't do that. There's something about the cholesterol, like the instant. I don't know. I can find out for you though.
Yeah,
But I've always known this. So don't eat a stick of butter.
All right, so day 10, what are we looking like?
I don't know. I honestly haven't put a lot of thought into anything like this before. I don't believe that that's going to happen. I hope.
Yeah, but
I
what
really
would you
don't.
look like on day 10? Like,
I would look
seriously.
like
No water. You haven't been to the grocery store in 10 days, right?
mhm.
You haven't had water, running water. What does that shit look like?
Really messed up.
What would you do if they brought the power grid down? And by they, I mean if the government purposefully brought the power grid down. And I'm not asking that question for fun. I'm asking that question because the World Economic Forum is predicting that a cyber pandemic, you can look this up, they've been running exercises about it this year, is inevitable. You're probably saying, what is a cyber pandemic? Doesn't make any sense. Like, what are we even talking about? Well, first and foremost, the reason I'm even paying attention to the World Economic Forum and their exercises is because they notoriously, in 2019, ran an exercise for a coronavirus pandemic that oddly all became true. I mean, without one slight difference, they said that the coronavirus was going to escape from a wet market in South America. Of course, when the coronavirus swept the world in 2020, they said that it escaped from a wet market in China. You can still look that up, by the way. That's not a conspiracy theory. They simulated that coronavirus pandemic. It was the World Economic Forum in collaboration with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, in collaboration with Johns Hopkins University. And the website is still up, and they say, the coronavirus pandemic is inevitable. And then boom, it happened the very next year. So people say it's a conspiracy theory to believe that they knew that the coronavirus pandemic was going to happen. You don't have to believe it was a conspiracy theory, or you can believe it wasn't a conspiracy theory. It's up to you. I don't really care. The point is that they made the prediction, they called it inevitable, and then it happened immediately. So for me personally, that signals to me that I should probably pay attention the next time the World Economic Forum makes a prediction and calls it inevitable. And lo and behold, they are predicting that a coronavirus pandemic, a cyber pandemic, is going to happen, and that it is once again inevitable. So if you look into the exercise that they have run this year, I believe they ran it in July. They've been meeting and talking about the cyber pandemic, what it would look like. Essentially, their idea is that they're going to have to sanitize the internet because a bug, think of it as like a coronavirus for your computer, is going to sweep globally, and the only way they're going to be able to stop this bug from infecting everything is to effectively shut down the internet, right? And they were talking about bringing down the power grid in an effort to do this. So imagine the government bringing down the power grid, and you would not have access to anything that required an electrical charge.
It'd be messed up. It'd be really messed up. I don't know what. I don't even know. We'd start having to go outside to figure out, what there was to get us through to the future. I mean, like, what are we doing now? What's the plan?
It's crazy. I mean, if we couldn't drive,
And why can't we drive?
because everything's locked down.
Oh, they won't let us.
Yeah, because like the first thing I want to go do is check on my mom. Obviously, she's
Exactly.
like
That's
2.5
why
hours
if
away.
it's 24 hours, I'd go get my mom. I'd be like, you have to come.
Yeah, she's like 2.5 hours away from me driving. So like,
Yeah.
as the first thing you want to do is go check on family, make sure everybody's okay. Distribute satellite phones. That's probably what I would do. That's probably what I would do. I would probably want to go pick up some satellite phones and just drive around and give them to everybody. That'd probably be the best thing.
Yeah. We have walkie-talkies. You heard me?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's kind of cool.
But do they cover like distances?
Huh? Yeah. They're like the survival ones, but they only come with like two battery packs. So two battery.
But how far do they travel? Like
miles.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like
Probably not to your mom from you, but I would say you should get your mom and have her come with you, or you stay over there with her.
Yeah, I'd probably want to go stay with her. It'd probably be easier to stay with her than have her like uproot her whole life and everything. She's getting up there. 10 days, no electricity, you still plucking your eyebrows and shit. I don't know what you're doing in 10 days.
I mean, you're bored, so yeah, probably, but not for any reason like besides boredom. And maybe if you're going to become like a leader of nations, you want to look presentable.
I wonder if I work out.
Probably.
I mean, because there's like nothing else to do.
Yeah, exactly. Be like being in prison.
Yeah.
And that's what you could think of it like, but in prison, there's even electricity.
I know, right?
And meals.
Three hots and a cot.
Yeah. And flushing toilets and stuff.
Right. Oh my God. Yeah, if the toilets don't flush.
Yeah, the whole system would be
oh my God.
Well, no, the toilets do flush when the power's out, but I don't know what happens after that.
But if there's no running water.
Right. Yeah, it won't be good. It's not good, but see, okay. The government, they have chosen to be in position. Like, what are we like? No, something, I don't know. Somebody's gonna have to answer for something, and some people in the government that happen to be good, because there has to be some good people, need to figure something out, because we've been paying you guys this whole time, and so,
no, they're worried about themselves. They got their
satellite underground.
Yeah, they got their satellite phones and they deep underground military bases and whatnot.
Well, then we just have to restart society, and we have to do it. We have to start somewhere. We have to go and everybody collect all their heirloom seeds, and we need to plant them. We need to tear down all the, if there's weeds, if there's empty lots and stuff like that, we need to start planting shit. We need to.
It would take some of that. That should take seasons.
Yeah, okay, it takes seasons, but you got to start somewhere. You got to at least have that outlook. You got to have something that
no,
says.
You're right. No, look. I'm not saying you're not wrong. I mean, I'm not saying you're wrong, but I'm not saying what are you doing in the meantime.
Oh, for food.
Yeah. I mean, if you got enough seeds to feed your little community, right?
Yeah, you have heirloom seeds. You can grow.
I mean, you need a lot of shit to feed everybody. It takes a lot.
There's also a lot of people that do garden, and there's community gardens and there's stuff like that. So you just have to collect. You have to sit down go and meet, and you have to collect all your resources, and you have to say, like, we're in it, like we're in this, or or we're all flying solo. But I think it's better to be together on this, and let's collect our resources. Some people have more, some people will have less, but it's a community, so it's a blessing in disguise.
I think I'll probably just I'd also put together documentaries with footage that I've already got. I have plenty of time to cut shit together.
Yeah, but not without electricity.
Yeah, I would just
solar. There are ways to run your shit, like the power rangers, the rangers, park rangers. They do it. They have ways. They take batteries and they connect it to something that picks up the solar. There's stuff you can do.
That might be something I should probably look into. Like right now, like when I get off with you, it's like
I know.
Elite U.S. Forest Service firefighters charge their cell phones in the wilderness where there is no power. This trick will work on Apple or Android. You'll need a ballpoint pen, a 9-volt battery, a 12-volt adapter, and a power cord. Pull the top cap off the pen, and inside you're going to retrieve the small metal spring. Rip off a small piece of tape and have that ready. Take your 12-volt adapter, your power point adapter, and you're going to touch this point onto the positive or the small side of a 9-volt battery. It's vital that the pen spring makes contact with the negative of the outside pin of the 12-volt adapter. Tape in place. Now plug in your cell phone and you will be charging. And that's how the U.S. Forest Service charges cell phones when there is no power.
Generate at least a little bit of electricity for a little bit of time,
Well, you could run it from your car for a minute.
Run what from your car?
And you have to get the power outlets, but we have outlets, from our car. That we just
yeah.
I mean, there's no reason, except for the gas being gone, there's no reason why your car wouldn't still run for as long as you have gas.
Yeah, I mean, you'd probably still be able to. Damn, do gas pumps work on electricity?
What'd you say?
And gas pumps, they work on electricity, right? Or are they hydraulic? It's got to be electricity. They keep count.
It's electricity because the whole thing, you know, now I bet you
Some of
now.
them are digital even. So,
but solar works, right? Yeah, solar would work.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, here's the thing I didn't tell you. This was interesting because we're house hunting right now. We're looking for a house. And one of the ones my daughter and I found this weekend, we were reading the description, and it was talking about the solar, and then it said that in the event of a power outage, there's enough energy to last for 10 days. That's exactly the wording. I was like, wow.
Oh, wow. That was the wording. Wow. Yeah, I didn't even catch that right away.
Exactly.
It put me automatically in the mind of the Tesla batteries that they have now.
It is. It's Tesla. Yeah, it's Tesla. And so Tesla's the 10 days. And is that
no, Tesla, I'm talking about the Tesla batteries that you put in your garage to store electricity.
Exactly. Yep,
Yeah,
that's
but I don't know anything about 10
solar
days.
and Tesla batteries. And they said enough energy to last you 10 days.
Yeah, I don't know.
In case of
I
power
didn't hear
outage.
that it lasts 10 days, but that's an interesting synchronicity, isn't it?
Right. I was like, oh, okay.
With Tesla and Starlink and 10 days, and that's what you was asking about, huh?
Exactly.
You need more connections, so I guess you just made one.
So interesting. Yeah, I would have forgotten that it was even Tesla until you just said that, but that's exactly what it was.
Yeah, I think that probably that's probably my biggest thing. I need to get something that generates a little bit of electricity. It don't have to do a lot. I don't need a lot, probably just to run the computer a little bit every once in a while. So I'll probably be mostly reading.
We have a power pack also that's that's solar. But I actually haven't used it yet though. I should probably see what's up because
I bought a solar power pack and it never worked, and the company went out of business.
Never worked, right?
Yeah.
See, there's what is it? Like they have these outlets that you supposedly can just stick on the window. It's like you plug your devices into them, but you stick them on the window to get the solar. Yeah, it's an idea. I don't know. I haven't seen it work yet either, but they supposedly have them. I mean, solar, of course, we can generate energy from everywhere. I mean, there is already free energy,
Yeah, I know. And, they say that's what's going to come back up after we go down.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I don't know. I mean, and when you get into the idea that what we believe becomes reality, like it makes you wonder, should you just believe stuff?
Yeah, I think you have to actually believe it though for this thing to work.
Well, I am honestly, I tend to believe more toward that way than the other way.
Likewise,
because the revelation of some of the things that are going on is so evil that there has to be something positive that counteract it. There just has to be. There's just no way. There's just no way that evil like that is going to win. It just doesn't. Just no way.
It doesn't.
No way. So
Max Spears, Max Spears, right? Yeah. He says it's already won. Like we already won. It's like we win.
I don't know how it's going to come about or whatever like that. I have no idea how it's going to look. And from what I hear, whatever event happens is going to be enough to shock even the people that think they're awake, like you and me. It has to be this way because whatever event transpires has got to, for lack of a better way to say it, burn itself into your DNA so that it can never happen again. So there are a lot of people that are looking for an event that is going to be, for lack of a better term, another one of the things that those people say all the time is that it's going to be biblical.
Right.
Yeah.
The event.
Yeah. So, I mean,
and it could also be already happening inside of ourselves, but I don't know.
All of that could be true. Yeah. And they could all be true at the same time.
And
then maybe none of it's true. And it's all a psyop.
Then why the psyop? Something must be true. Something big.
Well, the psyop to keep you distracted so they can bring their plans to fruition.
Why though? Why do they need
my
such
twirly
control?
mustache? Huh? What'd you
I
say?
know, right? Why do they need such control though? We must be very powerful beings.
Well, I mean, that's one way to look at it. It's easier to control a sheep than it is to control a dog, but dog is man's best friend.
True that.
So I don't know.
Hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know.
I mean, yeah, everything is questionable. I know, but I
Of course
can't
it is.
question
Even
everything.
this shit. It's like what? Like,
But I can't question
like
everything because I will lose
the
my
TikTok.
foundation. Listen, you can't question everything, otherwise you have no foundation. You got to have a foundation. Like my principles are my foundation. So like I have a belief and understanding of what I believe to be right and wrong, or what I
Yes,
believe to
but
be.
everything is subject to change. We are all.
No, it's not.
Okay, says you.
No, it's not.
You know what's my Facebook? My Facebook profile. The background says "question everything," and then it's a spray painted sign though. Like somebody wrote it in spray paint, and then underneath somebody else wrote "why?" question mark.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I say question everything unless we already know the answer. There's
Right.
something we know the
That's true.
answer
You can
to.
rest in your truth. You can rest in your truth.
No. I'm talking about objective truth.
Okay. Okay.
The sky is blue. The grass is green.
Yeah, but what is blue to you and me could be totally different.
No, that's stupid. I'm
No,
not
it's
doing
not.
stupid.
It's true.
It
It
is.
could be totally different.
No, it's not. No, that's stupid. That's stupid.
Okay.
We're not doing stupid.
It's
We're
not
not doing
stupid because
stupid. It
it's
is
true. What do
stupid.
you think colorblind
No,
is?
the sky is blue, objectively blue. It's been blue for thousands of years. We've known it for thousands of years. It is what it is. There are some things that are not debatable.
Okay, like biology.
Yes, right. There are men and women, right. Everything cannot be questioned. Because when you do that, there's no foundation that you can't build on anything. Right. So
Right.
yeah. Well, and this is my opinion. So yeah, I have certain things, principles or whatever, that I try to live by and set an example and all that other kind of stuff.
Right.
But in those principles, certain things are true.
But they've changed over the years though, right?
Some have, some haven't.
Right. Well, okay. So, but some have. That's my point, is that you never know.
I do know.
Yeah.
But I do know. I mean, the ones that change haven't changed that much. I mean, the thing about it is, if I get new information, if I learn something new, obviously I make adjustments, right? If I with new information, obviously you become, but for the most part, okay. For example, people that are pro-abortion, right, also feel that you shouldn't hurt anybody.
Right.
Do you see what I'm saying? So a lot of people that are pro-abortion, when they are confronted with the reality of the procedure of the abortion, would not be pro-abortion.
Right. Right.
Because do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So they haven't changed their principles, but their understanding of the world has changed in a way that they can adopt new things into this principle. Do you see what I'm saying?
So hard. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Sidebar, so hard to
the
get.
principle didn't change. You know what I'm saying? So the principles are unwavering. You know what I'm saying? So for me, God is truth. And so I speak the truth. And that means God's coming out of my mouth. So and that's never gonna change. There's no question about that for me. Huh?
Truth is absolute, and it's the only absolute.
Okay. All right. All right. We can leave it at that's a great note to end it on.
Alrighty then.
I thought I was prepared.
I thought you were too.
All right. Days of darkness, all right?
What would you do?
Come on now.
What would you do?
Let's see what comes up. Oops, no, I don't want to do that. See, I should have done that. That's a meme I'm gonna stick in there at some time, and this is shit I'm gonna edit out now, apparently. So, like I was saying.
Oh my God, is it 12? Is that why you're here? Happy birthday, Naya! Happy birthday, Thank you. It's her birthday.
Happy birthday, Naya.
Thank you.
Who the hell is Naya?
Huh?
Who's Naya?
My daughter.
That's your daughter?
Yeah.
I've never seen your daughter before.
Oh, well, I talk about her all the time.
Yeah.
Yes, that's her.
But I mean, I didn't know she was like. I keep forgetting you grown sometimes.
Oh, you thought she was a little baby?
Yeah, well, not a little baby, but like, you know, when we talk about our kids, a lot of times the picture in your head is not always, you know,
right.
Like she grown. Like, who's that lady?
That lady.
You know what I'm
She's
saying?
officially 23 today.
All right.